The mansion of Raymond Carter, a man known across the city as a powerful millionaire, stood like a symbol of success, filled with luxury that most could only dream of, yet inside its golden walls there lived a boy who felt more lonely than privileged. Daniel, Raymond's 10-year-old son, grew up surrounded by caretakers but starved of his father's attention, for Raymond was always buried in his business, trying to escape the grief of losing his wife years earlier. Among the many employees who worked tirelessly in that house was Elena, a young maid in her early 30s who came from a humble background, leaving her little daughter behind in the village so she could earn enough money to give her child a better future. Elena was quiet, hardworking, and unnoticed by many, but she had a heart full of love and compassion, especially toward Daniel, who reminded her of her own child. One warm afternoon, while Raymond was away at a meeting, Daniel decided to play near the swimming pool. Elena, as always, kept a watchful eye while cleaning the patio because she knew children could be careless, and in an instant, her worst fear came true. Daniel leaned too far over the deep end, slipped, and fell into the water with a terrifying splash. Time froze, and before she could even think, Elena dropped everything and rushed forward, diving into the pool fully clothed. Daniel flailed helplessly, sinking deeper as water filled his lungs, but Elena fought desperately, reaching him just in time to pull him back to the surface. She held him tight, kicking her legs until she brought him to the edge, dragging his limp body onto the tiles, and then she pressed against his chest, urging him to breathe. For a few agonizing seconds nothing happened, and tears filled her eyes as she whispered prayers, but finally Daniel coughed, gasping for air, his tiny chest rising again with life. Relief swept over Elena, who held him close, trembling with gratitude that he was alive. At that very moment, Raymond's car pulled into the driveway, and he walked in, frustrated from a failed deal, only to be greeted with a sight that made his heart stop, his son lying wet and weak on the ground, held by Elena, who was drenched and crying. Shock and fear surged through him, and when Daniel weakly pointed at Elena and said, "Daddy, she saved me," Raymond's world turned upside down. For years he had believed money could solve everything, yet here was proof that true value came from courage, love, and sacrifice. Overcome with gratitude and guilt, he knelt down, hugging his son tightly, his eyes welling with tears for the first time in years, and then he looked at Elena, not as a maid, but as a savior, someone who had risked her life for the one thing he could never replace. That night, Raymond could not sleep, his mind replaying the scene over and over again. He realized how close he had come to losing his son, how absent he had been as a father, and how someone with so little had shown him what true wealth meant. The next morning, he called Elena into his office, and with sincerity in his voice, he said, "You saved my son's life. There is no gift, no amount of money that can ever equal that. But from this day, you and your daughter will never have to struggle again." Elena was stunned, tears filling her eyes as Raymond explained that he would arrange for her daughter to join her in the city, that he would pay for the child's education in the best school, and that Elena herself would no longer serve as a maid but as part of his family, because in his heart, that is what she had become. Slowly, a bond grew between Raymond, Daniel, Elena, and her daughter, transforming the cold mansion into a home filled with laughter, warmth, and second chances. Raymond learned to step away from endless work and cherish his son. Daniel found a motherly figure in Elena and a sister in her daughter, and Elena discovered that her courage had not only saved a life but also changed her destiny forever. The story of a millionaire who saw beyond wealth because of the bravery of a humble maid spread like inspiration to many, reminding everyone that kindness and love are more powerful than riches. And if you believe in stories that touch the heart and show that miracles still happen in the simplest acts of courage, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because more life-changing stories like this are waiting to inspire you.